sisters without a covering.
Question is from London. Can you give some detail on the issue of teaching sisters without covering? Tayyib. The concept of teaching sisters without covering is connected to other issues. Free mixing, khalwa, seclusion, lowering the gaze, is the voice of the woman in awrah. Can a man even teach women, period? Everyone understand this? Ala kulli hal, we were just in Birmingham, and we had a sisters session at one of the masjids there. And I don't know what was going on. I was in the car, and I think I fell asleep and woke up, or was between sleep and being awake. And the brother was on the phone talking, and when we got to the masjid, it was a sister's lecture. I was sitting in a chair, and there was a screen and an empty musalla, and that was the sister's talk. So our host and some of the brothers, they said, what's the purpose of this? Why is it a sister's talk and there's a screen here? If it was just going to be him talking to nobody, then the brothers could have come in instead of it just being you talking to an empty space with a wall there. What's the purpose of that? I.e., the whole purpose of the sisters' class is for the sisters to get the attention and for them to have the time and for them to feel that there's some type of special knowledge being dedicated to them. Everyone understand this? So why are you teaching sisters? What's the purpose of teaching the sisters? Is there a specific reason that you have? You just want to give general classes, general dawah? Then there's no need for it to be what? For sisters. As far as if you have a specific intention, a specific objective for teaching women, then that's a different atmosphere with regards to sitting in front of them or not what? Sitting in front of them. Everyone understand this? And it also depends on what you're teaching them. What you're teaching them. Are you teaching them a science like Arabic, Quran, or are you just giving them a lecture? Is there a need for you to be sitting in front of them and them not seeing? Well, hakada. And it depends on obviously how those sisters cover, how they dress. Okay? It depends on their madhab as well. What they feel is ikhtilat and haram. And how does it work when there's a brother speaking to women? There are different ins and outs with regards to this. At the end of the day, you can't lose by staying away from it. You can't lose by staying away from it. And if you have a problem or an issue or something problematic, then I would say don't even teach classes to sisters, period. Unless you're willing to have your proofs and evidences for whatever of the two roads you take. A man cannot sit in front of women, even if they're covered in all black, period. La yajuz. And this is the dalil. And this is my opinion. Tayyib, la bas. Or a man can sit in front of women. He's not staring at them. Hopefully they're not staring at him. They're not alone with each other. They're not touching each other, so on and so forth. And this is my proof and evidence. Kada, kada, kada. And I'm willing to stand on that. If you're not willing for either of those two things, you're going to be in the middle and you should avoid it. You should stay away from me because there are many brothers who are going to have a problem with you teaching women, period. As the brother said in the UK, he said, my ghaira is too much for you to be sitting in front of my wife. I'm too jealous. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So stay away from it if you're going to be caught into that what? That type of situation. And obviously, yani, is a huge problem with regards to the lack of proper fiqh. The lack of the proper understanding of the text of the Quran and the Sunnah and applying all of them. Not taking one hadith and one ayah, for or against, but taking all of the adillah. And what you have to look at all of the hadiths and come out with a conclusion that there was no interaction between sexes in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, period. If you cannot come out with that conclusion from all of the authentic hadiths, then you're going to say there was interaction. What type of interaction? How was the interaction? How were the women dressed? How were the men dressed? What was said? What was done? Was it a what? A need. As far as a black and white ruling, sit in front of the sisters 100%. You cannot sit in front of the sisters 100%. Then obviously you either haven't taken no proofs from the Quran and Sunnah, or you've only taken what? A selected few. Or you've taken all of them, but with a full cup. With an agenda, with presupposed facts, let alone just taking the fatwa of a sheikh. And once again, there's nothing wrong with that. When we say taqleed, if you're a layman person and you can't study, and that's one thing. Even though some ulama of Islam, such as Ibn Hazm rahimahullah and others, they held the view that taqleed la yajuz, bihal. And there were many modern day scholars who had the same view. We don't want to mention their names right now. We'll save them, inshallah, for another time. They held the view that taqleed was what? Absolutely haram. There's never a time which you can make taqleed. And even the ammi has to try his best. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. But the point is, for those who say that there's a time or a place in which there's some type of taqleed, yani as a necessity, and someone who's a layman person is not like someone who's a student of knowledge. So when we initially come down upon muqallideen and people who promote it and support it, rather force it upon others, we're talking about people who are supposed to be tulabul ilm, let alone scholars. How can you be a person of taqleed in which you're not looking, investigating, and using your mind? That's a problem. So this is the issue of free mixing, of looking at the opposite sex, talking to the opposite sex, teaching the opposite sex. You find people on one side of the extreme, people only taking one fatwa, people only taking one hadith, people not investigating and having a thorough conclusion on what is the ruling of gender interaction in what? In al-Islam. And of course, if we agree or differ, it's going to be things of ijtihad. You may say it's permissible to sit in front of the sisters. It's not haram. I may say it is haram. If there's no clear-cut evidence, there's mutual respect. So stay away from it if it's going to cause you confusion, if it's going to get you refuted, if the brother's wife or the brother's husband is going to, the sister's husband is going to, not the brother's husband, the sister's husband is going to step to you after the class, then what? Stay away from it. And this is I'm speaking what? This is real life stuff. Many brothers, they get a problem with this. My sister went to your class, you were talking to my wife came home and she said, I don't have to do this, it's not obligatory, this is the proof. Many problems you can go through by educating women, unfortunately. Wallahu alam.